To put it would be in the middle of a wall.
Drill's going in now.
Hold it. They hit something at 11 feet.
That could be where the treasure's hiding.
I detected gold.
Wow. 100%.
Yeah.
This is huge.
Well, there you go, guys.
The Oak Island treasure has finally been found at Smith's Cove, and what they uncovered is beyond anyone's wildest dreams. It's no longer just theories and broken ladders. They've discovered something that's rewriting everything we thought we knew. But this is Oak Island, and nothing is ever that simple. Let us unravel the true secret that could change it all. The new clues driving Oak Island hopes. The theories are endless, and the goal is always tantalizingly just out of reach. If anything, Oak Island is a masterclass in hype. They're determined to keep searching. They're drilling new boreholes, checking for voids, and basically throwing everything they've got at it. The hope is that there might be another hidden chamber, tunnel, or whatever it is that supposedly leads to untold riches. The enthusiasm, if a bit delusional, is admirable, and the team's hope rests on a whole lot of maybes. But last week they found something, and it might change everything. They're excited, nervous, and perhaps a little doubtful, but this is Oak Island, and any hint of open space underground is reason enough to start dreaming big again. It's a surprising find, and soon enough, Rick and Marty are back on site, eager to figure out what they found and whether it's just more air or something actually interesting. More clues, more digging, more theories. But they found gold in the water, gold on some wood, and they've got an ancient ladder leading down a tunnel. Is it all leading to the fabled treasure? Or just another chapter in a long, winding story of disappointment? Only time, and a lot more drilling, will tell. The next step in their relentless pursuit involves even more drilling in new areas of the island. They believe that the island holds a vast network of tunnels, each one potentially leading them to something valuable. It's a little bit like trying to solve an impossibly large maze, and each new borehole is just another turn, a possible pathway toward the final exit, the treasure. But each time they think they've found a promising lead, they seem to come up against another dead end. However, each piece of wood, each old nail, and each underground gap still holds the allure of potential. What if this next hole is the one that finally pays off? Every core sample is treated like it could hold the answer to this ages-old mystery. The samples they've pulled from Baby Blob and DN 11.5 are particularly promising. They believe these are evidence of human activity, artifacts that date back to the construction of the original money pit. With water samples indicating traces of gold and the wood findings backing that up, the team is determined to keep their focus on this area. They've been exploring other parts of the island as well. This is not a one-horse show. There are multiple leads that the Lagina brothers and their team are following. There's the mysterious garden shaft, the swamp, and now the tunnels and shafts around Baby Blob and the Blob. This treasure hunt has turned into a full-on archaeological expedition, and every corner of Oak Island seems to hold a piece of this never-ending puzzle. While Charles is focused on the drilling operation, Marty decides to check in on the progress being made at the garden shaft. This old rickety shaft has been causing a lot of excitement. They believe it may lead directly to an offset chamber of the original money pit, the source of all the legends. The team has been reinforcing this shaft, replacing the old waterlogged wood with fresh beams to make sure they can safely explore it further. The further down they go, the more clues they seem to uncover, including high readings of precious metals. But they're also realistic. Just because there are traces of gold doesn't mean they found the mother lode. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack, except the haystack is full of legends and half-truths, and the needle might not even exist. He's convinced that the key to solving this mystery lies in understanding the people who came here hundreds of years ago. The island's history is full of secret societies, pirates, and explorers, each with their own reasons for possibly coming to Oak Island. There are theories about the Knights Templar, the British Crown, and even pirates like Captain Kidd. Rick believes that by understanding their motivations, the team might finally be able to piece together the puzzle and find the treasure they've been searching for. The next major step in their investigation is to expand the search area around Baby Blob. The latest water samples have shown higher concentrations of gold than anything they've seen before, and they're hopeful that by drilling a few more boreholes, they'll be able to pinpoint the exact source. The plan is to create a grid of boreholes, each one drilled to the same depth, to see if they can identify a pattern. If they can figure out where the gold is coming from, they'll have a much better idea of where to dig next. With drilling underway, the team hopes their next steps reveal more than just empty space. Drilling deeper at Oak Island for clues of buried riches. They talk about Baby Blob and the garden shaft with such enthusiasm that it's easy to forget that they've been at this for years with only small bits of evidence to show for it. But that's the thing about treasure hunting. It's not always about the treasure itself. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the mystery, the hope that maybe, just maybe, this time they'll be the ones to uncover something truly incredible. And that hope is what keeps them going, day after day, year after year, as they dig deeper into the ground and deeper into the past. As they prepare to drill the next set of boreholes, the crew gathers around the rig, each one of them hopeful that this time they'll hit something big. The sun is setting over Oak Island, casting long shadows across the ground. The air is filled with anticipation as the drill starts up again, its steady hum a reminder of the countless hours they've spent digging into this mysterious island. They watch as the drill bites into the earth, each rotation bringing them closer to whatever lies beneath. And as the first core sample is pulled from the ground, they lean in, their eyes searching for any sign, any clue that might lead them to the treasure they've been seeking for so long. They know that after all this time, it's possible that there's nothing left to find. But they also know that they can't give up. Not now, not when they're so close. They've come too far, they've dug too deep, and they've uncovered too many clues to turn back now. They owe it to themselves, to the people who came before them, to keep searching. It all started back in 1795 when Daniel McGinnis and his buddies stumbled upon a circular depression in the ground. Sounds like a real edge-of-your-seat kind of discovery, right? To them, it looked like someone might have buried something, and next to it was a tree with a mark that looked like a pulley had been there. So they started digging, thinking they'd be rich by the weekend. Instead, they found alternating layers of earth and wood, which only fueled their excitement. This marked the birth of the famous Money Pit, and a treasure hunt that stretched out for centuries, driven by the ever-present belief that just a few feet deeper lay untold riches. Spoiler, the riches are still missing. One of the juicier theories that people like to toss around involves the Knights Templar. Yep, those guys. According to legend, they may have hidden their sacred treasures on Oak Island, possibly even the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant. Because if you're going to hide relics of immeasurable religious importance, why not bury them in a swampy pit on a remote island in Nova Scotia? The theory goes that, with Europe getting pretty hostile for the Templars, they packed up their treasures, sailed across the Atlantic to North America, and decided that Oak Island's obscure landscape was the perfect spot to stash their stuff. Of course, the evidence for this mostly revolves around some carvings that may or may not look like Templar symbols. But let's not let details ruin the fun. Kidd, the infamous 17th century pirate, was rumored to have buried some of his loot before being captured and hanged by the British. And naturally, Oak Island made its way into the mix of possible hiding spots. After all, what's a good treasure mystery without a few pirates thrown in for flair? The stories of ghostly lights around the island, supposedly seen at night, add to this romantic image of pirates hiding their treasures under moonlit skies, complete with secret maps and curses. The reality? Probably just marsh gas or some guy with a lantern, but let's keep the pirate fantasy alive. We can't ignore the good old curse that claims 7 people must die before the treasure can be found. So far, 6 have met their end while trying to crack the mystery. Because what's a long-winded treasure hunt without a dash of superstition and doom, right? Every failed expedition, every piece of broken machinery, and every empty pit just seems to add to the idea that Oak Island doesn't want to give up its secrets. It's almost as if the island itself is in on the joke, guarding nothing but dirt while the hopeful diggers keep adding to the body count. Rick and Marty, who bought a stake in the island back in 2006 and decided to make a reality TV show about it. These guys came in with a combination of fancy tech, enthusiasm, and just enough gullibility to reignite the whole spectacle. They've used ground-penetrating radar, sonar, and all the other tools modern technology can offer to find, well, a few coins, some bits of wood, and other assorted debris. But they've also managed to find millions of viewers willing to watch every moment of their quest through each muddy pit and false lead. You've got to give them credit for their persistence. If nothing else, they've certainly made the hunt entertaining. The Lagina brothers and their crew are like real-life Indiana Jones, but with way more setbacks and far fewer actual artifacts. You'd think after all this time, someone would have just decided to fill the holes back in and call it a day. But nope, the lure of possibly maybe finding something someday keeps them going. As they dig deeper, they also uncover the stories that keep their search alive. The stories and legends that keep us hooked. Oak Island has become a pop culture phenomenon. From books to documentaries to internet rabbit holes, Oak Island has worked its way into the cultural zeitgeist. And why wouldn't it? There's something undeniably captivating about a good mystery, especially one with treasure at the center of it. Add in a few ancient curses, some secret societies, and a bunch of colorful characters over the years, and you've got the makings of a story that people just can't let go of. Despite all of this attention, despite all the resources thrown at the dig, the supposed treasure remains elusive. The truth is, Oak Island's mystery is more about the stories we've spun around it than anything actually hidden underground. The theories of the Templars, the Freemasons, the pirates, and the curses, they're all part of this big, tangled tapestry that's mostly made up of wishful thinking. It's not really about the gold or the relics or the manuscripts anymore. It's about the thrill of the hunt. The treasure hunters aren't just looking for treasure, they're looking to be part of something bigger, to find some tangible link to history, to legends, to something extraordinary. The Oak Island treasure hunt has become its own beast, a journey that's less about finding anything and more about the adventure of searching. People are drawn to it because it's a real-life mystery, with traps, clues, and secrets buried just out of reach. It's about how humans need to uncover what's hidden, to beat the odds, to find something that's always been considered impossible. And in a way, that's what keeps Oak Island's allure alive. The idea that maybe, just maybe, there's something there. Something that has outsmarted everyone for over 200 years. The thrill of the unknown. The promise of a mystery that might one day be solved. The idea that there's still something out there worth finding. Whether it's a chest of gold, a long-lost artifact, or just a lot of empty space, the search for Oak Island's treasure is really about the human spirit's refusal to give up. The Laginas and all the others before them have kept digging not because they're guaranteed a reward, but because they're chasing the possibility. And in that sense, maybe Oak Island has already delivered its greatest prize, a never-ending adventure, a quest that defies time, and a reminder that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. The hunt has unfolded in stages, each with its own layer of intrigue, and many of them brought along bold ideas and even bolder egos. At one point, companies like the Truro Company stepped in, thinking they could outsmart the pit with their engineering savvy, but they ended up with broken drills, flooded tunnels, and a whole lot of disappointment. Oak Island has this incredible ability to draw people in and chew them up, then spit them out with lighter pockets and a sobering realization of just how tricky it is to fight against nature's booby traps. And let's not forget about the mysterious stone slab supposedly discovered at 90 feet, covered in undeciphered symbols. Some claimed it was a coded message, perhaps detailing how much farther one had to dig to reach the treasure. Others thought it was a warning, or maybe even a prank meant to lead would-be treasure hunters in circles. Regardless, the stone vanished somewhere along the way, like so many other tantalizing clues, leaving behind more questions than answers. The stone's disappearance fits right in with the rest of Oak Island's tricks. It's almost as if the island refuses to let anything definitive stick around for too long. The truth is, people love the idea that there's something out there that can't quite be explained, a puzzle that defies our understanding. And Oak Island, with its frustratingly evasive secrets, delivers exactly that. The treasure might be gold, it might be knowledge, or it might just be the thrill of never quite knowing. That's what keeps people interested. Every little discovery, no matter how insignificant, is treated like it could be the key to solving the entire thing. And every time it turns out to be just another dead end, it only adds to the myth. There's something fundamentally human about wanting to solve mysteries, to dig deeper, to push through obstacles in the hope that the next layer will reveal something incredible. Oak Island taps into that instinct, offering a playground for imagination and ambition. The diggers, who have spent years and sometimes lifetimes chasing Oak Island's secrets, aren't just treasure hunters. They're adventurers, dreamers, and storytellers. They're people who believe that despite the odds, there's something out there worth finding. Oak Island's allure has endured for over 2 centuries, and with good reason. There's just enough evidence, just enough strange artifacts and bizarre coincidences to keep the hope alive. There's the lure of pirate legends, the intrigue of secret societies, and the possibility of long-lost historical treasures. And even though the treasure remains out of reach, the search itself has become legendary. The stories of those who've come and gone, who've dug and dreamed and sometimes lost everything in the process. Those stories have become part of Oak Island's treasure. So while the pit itself may or may not contain anything of value, the real story is the people who've been drawn to it, the lives it's touched, and the way it's become part of our cultural fabric. The thrill of the unknown, the promise of untold riches, and the allure of a mystery that just might be solvable someday. That's Oak Island's true legacy. It's not really about the gold or the jewels or even the manuscripts. It's about the spirit of adventure, the thrill of the chase, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, there's something extraordinary waiting to be found. Oak Island will continue to captivate those who love a good mystery. The story will keep growing and the legend will keep inspiring new generations of treasure hunters. And maybe that's the greatest treasure of all. A story that refuses to end, an adventure that keeps calling, and the endless possibility that someday someone might finally find what lies beneath. Could the Oak Island treasure hunt be the ultimate scam, or are they really on the verge of finding out? Leave your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more exciting mysteries.